You've probably heard the term gentle parenting, right? Otherwise described as, I don't know, positive parenting, respectful parenting. So, this is the current approach, or one of them, I guess, to raising children, right? Acknowledging a child's feelings and the motivations behind their challenging behaviors, challenging meaning not so great all the time. So, we want to try to find out more because the one thing that has not necessarily been taken into account here, okay, that's the parenting for children, but what about the parents? What about the adults? Turns out this is, we think, based on what I'm reading here, a little harder on them than they thought. Emily Edlin's a licensed clinical psychologist specializing in pediatric health psychology. She is on the line. Emily, thank you for being here. Let me
Hi, Aaron.
Hi. Let me begin by asking, first of all, as far as a definition goes, I said you can call it a couple of different things: respectful parenting, positive parenting. Is that pretty much how we describe it? Gentle parenting? How else would you describe it?
Gentle parenting is really considered a blend of healthy limits and a warm, empathic relationship. So the core of gentle parenting is pretty, consensually agreed that it's positive.
Okay, although I've heard some people, maybe it was stand-up comics I heard talking about this. Maybe that's where the non-positive part of this comes from,
Well,
which is fair, I
no,
guess.
I would say though the problem has come from how gentle parenting is portrayed by influencers and on social media,
Okay.
and it has ended up being this intense pressure on parents to always, focus on their child's emotions and always be empathic and always be responsive in a way that is not realistic or necessary. And so then what happens is that is really stressful for the parents. It's actually then not good for the kids if the parents are stressed out from trying to be gentle parents.
Okay, well, that's a great way to explain it. I would then ask, based on what you just said, where do you draw the line? Where do you think the line has to be drawn?
Well, I think for one, we're trying to be too absolutist about this is how to parent, when really every child and family has different needs and temperaments and personalities. And so it shouldn't be so prescriptive. And I think parents have gotten so overwhelmed by all the information out there that in a large sense have lost their own instincts of this is what I know my kid needs. And so I would say the balance is you want a warm, close, trusting relationship that feels emotionally safe to your child. However, that does include conflict and behavior problems because kids are kids. That's what they do. That's how they learn. And it's okay to have disagreements and have not everything always go smoothly. That is normal family life.
Okay, and which is understandable long before gentle parenting came into effect or began to become, the way parents now, many of them deal with their kids. But I read that, in the story, an actual U.S. public health advisory from the U.S. Surgeon General, right, warning that
Yep.
today's parents are feeling burned out and, quote, perpetually behind, unquote, from comparing themselves and their parenting strategies to what they see online. So you brought up social media, you brought up influencers. How
Yep.
stressful is that on parents and why?
I think it has created a completely unrealistic standard of parenting that we are not supposed to parent that way, but it's become this idealized form of parenting portrayed, on the beautiful Instagram, but it's not matching real life. And so by nature, we are going to feel like we're failing because we're not
Right.
we're not parenting in the way that looks so nice on Instagram. But I would say that one reason I have a book about autonomy supportive parenting, and that to me is finding that middle ground of a realistic but science-based way to parent that's really healthy for both parents and children.
And what do
And
you,
one reason I was
sorry, I was going to say, what do you call it?
autonomy supportive parenting.
Okay, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. And how does that work?
No, well, for one thing, I was motivated to write this book because of the parent burnout I was seeing
Okay.
trying to do gentle and positive parenting. And so autonomy supported parenting has actually been studied for decades in the psychological literature. So it has a very good scientific basis. And the whole idea is that you are meeting your child's needs of autonomy and competence and connection. But this includes limits and using things like consequences and Timeouts are okay. I mean, some things that gentle parenting has made seem forbidden. It's fine. The autonomy supportive science does not, there's no science saying that those things are going to harm children.
All right. So I guess for parents listening to this who are, maybe gentle parenting and finding that, that burnout is becoming an issue, this is another alternative. Can I ask about another? Because I just read this the other day. It's hard to keep up with the various styles of parenting these days.
I know.
We had helicopter parenting. Are we done with that? Is that proven not to be the right way? Or is this old by now? I don't know anymore.
Well, actually, I think we're all realizing it's bad, but we're kind of all still doing it. And I call it intensive parenting, where it's this idea of we're really extra involved in everything our children are doing. We're also trying to protect them from bad things happening to them. And so that is intensive parenting or helicopter parenting that is also burning out parents. So we have a real convergence of parenting styles that are not working for parents across the board. And I agree that they're part of what's contributing to the parental stress and burnout that the U.S. Surgeon General just issued the advisory about.
So beyond these two, the gentle parenting, the helicopter parenting, what else are you seeing in your practice that people are doing? Do we have a name for it? Is there something else that's become sort of in vogue right now?
Well, I think this generation of parents is starting to realize this helicopter way and even the gentle parenting way isn't quite working. It's not getting us what we want. But I think parents aren't really sure what to do instead. Unfortunately, what I see happening is more what we call permissive parenting, which is not using a lot of limits and consequences, but giving kids a lot of freedom without the structure because they don't want to hurt their relationship. But that's not good for kids either. So I think autonomy supportive parenting is a mouthful. It sounds like science. It needs a better marketing, but it really is kind of that healthy, moderate middle of having a very strong, positive relationship with your child with empathy and all that good stuff, but also very clear limits and structure.
If I didn't know better, I'd say you were talking about the way that perhaps the last generation raised their kids, right? Is that what I'm getting here?
Well, I have thought of that and that has come up, but I do think there's a bit of a difference because in autonomy supportive parenting, it's really important for the parents to see their child for who their child is, not who their parent wants them to be. And I think generations before, it was very much parents were raising the children they wanted them to be. So I think there's a bit of a progressive shift there around really understanding who your child is.
By the way, to the one you referenced just a minute or so ago, I think of that. I think it was Bill Maher who actually did this one on a show one week, showing that, that child in a grocery store, in a supermarket somewhere, rolling around on the floor and yelling and screaming with the parents standing over him and basically doing nothing and saying, this is where we've evolved to and this is bad. Yep,
absolutely. That child needs the limit of just being scooped up and taken out. And that's okay. It's not going to hurt the child.
There you go.
I think we have forgotten that children are actually quite sturdy and resilient.
All right. There, pick up your child. Don't let him roll around on the floor.
Don't let them roll around.
Emily Edlin, licensed clinical psychologist. Emily, do you have a website?
I do. EmilyEdlinPhD.com. And I have a Substack called Parent Smarter, Not Harder.
Oh, excellent. Parent Smarter, Not Harder. All right. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Very much appreciate it.
Thank you.
You bet.